Hello everyone. So for this series of videos, I'll be teaching you how to create your own VR game for the library. So before we begin, of course, we need a few things so that we could get started. Number one, we would need a computer. You can use either Windows or Mac, also on Linux, but I don't have any experience using our game engine using Linux, so I do recommend using Windows and Mac. Speaking of game engine, we will be using the game engine called Unity. There's a lot of great games created by Unity, but for today, we'll be creating it for a VR game, which is also very easy. I personally don't know how to code. If you don't know how to code as well, we will be using AI to create the code for our game. I've been using Copilot, so you can find that within Microsoft Edge. If you prefer using ChatGPT or Google's Bard, whatever AI you prefer, it should be able to create C# code. It's not perfect, but for the games that we will be creating, which is just simple games, just interactive activities for our students, it should be more than enough. Lastly, of course, we need a virtual reality headset. So there's a lot on the market right now. But for our library, we've been using this headset. So this is from Facebook, from Meta. This is MetaQuest 2. Future Gerald here. I forgot to mention that you also need your Oculus account to be a developer. It's kind of easy to do, so I'll just link a tutorial in the video description. You need it to be in developer mode so that we can basically add games in the VR without using the MetaQuest store. Okay? Let's go back to the video. Now we're here at my computer. So I will link all the links in the description. So this is the website for Unity. For our Windows user, you can just click here right away. It will download the Unity Hub. For Mac users like me, you do need to scroll down a bit and look for this one. So we have here download for Windows, download for Mac, and instructions for Linux. Again, for me, I'm using Mac, so I'll be clicking download for Mac. So yeah, easy as that. Now we download it and just install it in your computer the next day. So I forgot to mention that might need to create an account in Unity. So I already had mine, so I wasn't able to go through that process as it automatically logs me in. But it's free, and with that, you should be able to see what I'm looking at right now. So this is what it looks like with a fresh install of Unity Hub. Okay, the first thing that we need to do is to actually install a Unity editor. So it's here on the installs. Can you see here? So it's right behind this project. So let's click installs. You can see here there's an install editor. Same goes here at the upper right corner. So let's click this one. We will need to choose a version of Unity editor. So I recommend using the latest one. So at the time of recording this video, the latest is 2022.3.18F1. So that's the latest one. For now, I'm using a Apple Silicon one, so I'm gonna click install for the Apple Silicon. For the Windows, there's no option for this one. So yeah. So I already installed this one, so Visual Studio for Mac. So that's very important. So if there's a checkbox there, so please check it, as this will be basically where we edit our codes. So it's very important. Besides that, we need to click this Android build support as our VR headset. So specifically, Meta uses Android. So basically, it's a modified version of a Android software. So we're not gonna need the rest of these. So with that, let's click this. Then let's agree. Then install. Keep in mind that I already installed this before, so maybe some prerequisites are already installed in my system. So if there's like a default checked boxes in there, so please do install that as well. Okay, so you can see it's now downloading. It might take a while, So for now, let's get our license from Unity. So it's like basically our permission to use the editor. Okay, so where can we get those license? It's here at the upper left corner. You can see here the preferences, the gear icon, and then let's go to licenses here. And then as you can see, I already have mine, but the way you add it is just click this add button at the upper right corner, and then get free personal license, the third one. So agree and get personal edition license. Okay, so this is free, completely free, but if you intend to sell your games that you will be creating, of course, you need to get a different license for that. I think I'm not familiar with that, as I'm only using the personal one, as it was never our intention to sell any of our games. But for this video, we will only be using the personal license. So yeah, so as you can see, I have mine installed already, so it's here. The next thing that we need to do is to create a project. So let's go over again to project here at the left. And then let's create a new project here. So at the upper right corner, I'm gonna name my project, let's say YouTube project. All right. And for here at the middle, we need to choose 3D URP. So I already installed mine, but it should be here, like down here, that you need to download. So here, don't really need to connect to Unity Cloud. So with that, let's now create our project. All right, let's just click that, and then it might take a while to open, as it will create new files and do some magic things. But after that, you should be able to see the editor.
A few minutes later.
Alright, so after that lengthy loading screen, you should be looking at what I'm looking right now. So this is the Unity editor, and this is where the magic happens. Okay, I'm gonna explain the different parts of Unity. So basically there's like 4 or 5 main parts in here. So these are the following. So the first one we have here is this one, the scene. So as you can see, this is where all of the things happen. So this is where our game or the game environment is. So this is where we will be putting all of our characters, all of our buildings. So we can arrange them here, so forth and so on. So everything that will happen in the game will be on the scene. So some games, a lot of games have multiple scenes. So usually a scene is contained for main menu, another scene for the game itself, another scene for another level, so on and so forth. So basically creating many scenes is very important for game creation. So for this tutorial, we will be doing at least 2 scenes. Okay, when you start the game, so natively here in Unity, you will see here this one, the one beside it, which is the game. So this is what the camera will be looking at. And so for our VR camera, we will be using the virtual reality headset itself. So when our heads move to the left, so the camera will also move to the left, to the right. Camera will also move to the right. So basically we will be using the VR as the camera. The next one is on this left one, which is hierarchy. So hierarchy is basically everything that's inside the scene. Light, structures, building, characters, all of it will be here. Also, we have the main camera here. Down here is where we can find the projects. So basically, this is where we will add all of our assets within your game, the whole game, not only for one scene, but for the whole game. Okay? So beside that is the console. So this is basically will show you what is basically happening in the game. So let's say, for example, if the player scores a point, so the log will say that the player scores a point, or there's a +1, there's a -1, something like that. If there's an error in the game, so it will also showcase that there's an error, it's not starting, or maybe there's a complication, so the console will all show that. So the last one on the right side is most probably the fun one, which is the inspector. As you can see here, it's currently nothing, but if I click something on the hierarchy, let's say for example the main camera, you will see that it will show up values. So basically inspector is where we add components and edit its value. So let's say for example this transform is one component, and then the camera is another component, audio listener is another component, and then we can add more here. But we'll talk about adding components later. But for now, I want to show you what it looks like editing the values. So for example, here in the transform, I can change. So you can see here, this is the camera, the arrow one at the middle. So when I move this, it's moving the camera as well. When I rotate the camera, when I change the value of the rotation, you can see the main camera, it's also rotating. Okay, so that's the inspector. And one more thing is that you can see here that there are tools here. These are the tools that I mainly use. So we have here the view tool, the move tool, the rotate tool. So I mainly use just the view, the move, and the rotate. So basically those are the three things that I only use mainly. Another tip is that here in Unity, you can actually rearrange this to whatever layout you want. So personally, I do this layout, so I'm gonna change it first to my layout so that I feel comfortable doing the tutorial for you guys. So I'm just gonna move this one here. So you can drag basically the name of it and then drag it somewhere else, and then just move their name here at the bottom. So yeah, basically this is my preferred setup for Unity Editor. Currently the game is for a basic video game, so basically either 3D or 2D game, but of course we want our game to be in sort of like a VR mode. Okay, so with that we need to install a few more plugins so that we can start. In Windows, you will see here at the top, so it's not currently included in the screen, but there's like file, edit, asset, game object, component, services, jobs, window, and help. In the Mac, it's just on the top. It's just not included here in my screen recording, but it's on the top. But let's just click window. So when we click window, it will show up this drop down, and then let's go to package manager. Okay, here in the package manager, you will see that we have here the packages in project. So let's click that and click Unity registry, because we need to grab something from Unity officially. We need I think 4 or 3 things. So we need this one, XR Interaction Toolkit. We also need XR Plugin Management. Let's install XR Hands as well, so there's no harm in that. We also need the OpenXR plugin and the Oculus XR plugin. So basically that's like 5. Okay, so the way you install it is just click one of those and then click install here at the upper right corner. I'm not going to show you me clicking install as it needs restart of Unity. So just install all of those, and then I'll be installing all of those as well, and I'll be back after that. Alright, so as you can see, I already have them installed. I think I restarted once, so I got the XR Hands, XR Interaction Toolkit, XR Plugin Management, and where's it? Oculus XR Plugin and OpenXR plugin. So one more thing here in the package manager is that we need to install something from the XR Interaction Toolkit, or XRI for short. So here in the XR Interaction Toolkit, let's click samples here in the middle, and then we need to install the starter assets. I'm sorry for this one. So this one, starter assets. So let's install that. Import, as we say it. Wait for it, and then voila, we're now done with the package manager. Let's close it for now, Alright, so just a few more things before we begin. So we need to go to the edit here at the top. So click edit, and then this drop down will show. Click project settings. So it should be like this here in the player. So this one here in the player, you will see that we can edit the company name. So let's say, for example, Librarians Tambayan, and edit a lot of information for the game. But we need to edit something here as well for the game itself. We need to change this package name, as this will be like the unique name for the game itself. So you need to change this for every project that you will do so that it will be unique. It will not overwrite your previous project. So for this one, let's say says com.unitytechnologies.com. We can change it to, let's say, for example, com.librarians tambayan for the company, and then dot for the name of the game, which is the YouTube project. So whatever you prefer, so just do dots. For the minimum API level, switch that to at least Android 10. Okay. For the scripting backend like this one, change it to IR2 CPP. Uncheck ARM v7 and just check ARM 64. Alright, here in the XR plugin management, which is around here at the bottom, you also need to make sure that it checks out initialize XR on startup, as it will recognize the game needing to be in VR. And you also need to click open XR. So yeah, as you can see, there's like a yellow error here. It will be here at the project validation. So as you can see here, it says some errors, but just click fix all. Usually it fixes everything. It says here the bottom one, at least one interaction profile must be added. It means that it needs to have a controller profile. So how do we add that controller profile? So here the OpenXR, under the XR plugin management, here in the enabled interaction profile, so there's nothing listed in there. Basically, that's where we indicate what controller does the game support. So for our VR headsets here in the library, so I will add the Oculus Touch controller profile, as those are the things in the MetaQuest 2 controllers. I'm gonna add that. I'm also gonna check the MetaQuest support. So there's a yellow in there, so let's check in the project validation. It says using the screen space ambient occlusion. This might be a problem, but in my experience as creating just simple games, basically not a problem. Okay, and with that, we're now done with project settings. I want to end our part 1 of our series with making our VR hands. Okay, so the first thing that we need to do is actually delete the main camera, as we have a camera for the VR, so we don't need this one, so just delete that. Now we'll be using the XR Interaction Toolkit samples that we downloaded earlier. So here in the projects, you will see there's now a sample, so click that one. XR Interaction Toolkit 2.5.2, starter assets, and then click the prefabs. Here in the prefabs, you will see we have controllers, interactors, teleport, XR interaction setup, and XR origin. Okay, so what we want is XR interaction setup. So let's put it here. It's now there. You can see it has a lot of things if you drop down. So it has a lot of child, as we call it. So child. So X, we have input action manager, XR interaction manager, event system, and of course the XR origin. So here the XR origin, it has everything: the locomotion system, the way we walk with the controller, the main camera. As you can see here, we have a camera here. We also have left controller and right controller settings here. So it's all pre-configured and easy to access. Okay, so now of course we need a floor. So currently our camera is floating, so we need to add a floor. So let's right click here on the hierarchy, create a 3D object. Okay, I'm blocking it, I'm sorry. Create a 3D object, and then hit plane. So you can create cube, sphere, capsule, but for now we need a plane, okay? And then that will add a floor to our setup. So I'm just gonna change the values of it to 0 so that it will be in the center. So as you can see, it's in the middle, and our XR interaction setup is in the middle as well. So you can see here, you can see you can somewhat see, if you zoom in, you can see the hands and the camera angle of it, okay? Also, we need to change the XR origin to floor. So let's say, for example, if you want only the player to be at a certain height, then click device. But if you want it to recognize the floor, then click floor here. And with that, we now have a floor and our character. Okay, so how do we play this? How do we test this? For Windows, it's actually much easier. So if you have successfully enabled developer mode on your account and you have the Oculus application on your device, then just connect the headset, then allow device on the headset itself, and then if everything is well, just click this one, display here, and then it will play the game in the computer, and then it will output it to the device. Okay, so it's basically like the preview of the game, which is very good if you're a developer, because sometimes you just want a sneak peek of your game to see if it is working, if a certain function is doing the right thing. For the Mac users like me, unfortunately, it doesn't support that. So it means that we need to actually install the game to the headset itself already, so that we can preview it. It's a much lengthier process, but it's fine. It doesn't hurt anyone. So with that, we need to click the file here at the top. So click file. You will see that there is a build settings here. So click that. Once you click the build settings, it will show up like this. So as you can see, the Unity logo here is currently on the Windows, Mac, and Linux. We need to change it to Android. So whether you're in Windows or in Mac, you need to change it to Android, because we need to install the game as an Android game. Okay, so just click switch platform here. So wait to finish. So after that, so you can actually change some of the settings here. So let's say, for example, this texture compression, I typically change it to ASTC. And then max texture size, you can change it to max 2048 in case the game is lagging, in case you added something like that. And with that, we now click build. Actually, you can just click build and run, whatever you prefer, but I prefer build and run, as it will automatically open the game in the headset itself. So let's say, for example, the name is YouTube Project, like we did earlier. So click save scenes that we edited, and it might take a while for the first try, so just wait for it to do its thing. And voila, now we have our VR hands here, but currently it's not actually VR hands, it's only VR controller. So with that, we need to fix that with something first. Okay, so to fix that, we actually need to download something. So I'm gonna leave the download link in the video description. So it's a package by Balem Tutorials. He actually made the animation of the hands and added a hand prefab as well, a universal hand prefab for everyone to use. So thank you, Balem, for that wonderful package. Please do check him out. But for now, just download the package, and after downloading it, let's import the package. So how do you import the package? Just click the assets at the top here, and then import package, and then custom package. Okay, so as you can see here, I already downloaded it here. This is let's make a VR game. Open it, then just click import here. Might take a while, so just wait for it. Now that it's done, you can see here the project, there's now a new folder called Let's Make a VR Game. So with that, let's actually open that up. Open the Oculus hands here. check the prefabs. So you can see there's now a left hand model and a right hand model. Now we actually need to replace the controller one. So here, go to the XR interaction setup, XR origin, camera offset, click the left controller and right controller together. So I think it's shift in Windows. For Mac, it's command. Okay, so now that we selected left and right controller, scroll down until the end and you will see here the model. So the model prefab and the model parents are here. So just click none for both of those. Then none as well. Then now we don't have a controller prefab. Should be. Now let's just drag the left hand model here at the left controller and just drag the right hand model on the right controller here. So I got a mistake here. I dropped it here outside the right controller here. So just gonna delete that and I'm gonna drag another one. So right hand model here again on the right controller. It should be inside the right controller as it needs to be a child of the right controller. Okay, so as you can see, there's still some antennas poking around. So basically those are the poke points as they call it. So here in the poke interactor, you can see there's a drop down again. So drag that down and you can see there's a poke point in there. We still want the ability to poke something, but we don't want that poke point. So let's just disable it. So click that poke point and just disable this one. It will disable. Same goes with the left controller. So disable the poke point. Okay, and with that, let's try it out. So for Windows, just click play and then you will see it right away. But for Mac users like me, we need to build and run. So just click file, and if after the first build and run, just from the build settings, you can just click build and run here right away. Save it, and with that, we now see that our hands are working. So when you actually click some of the buttons of the controller, it kind of works. We'll explore all of those in the upcoming video. Alright, so basically that's the part 1 of our video. So we got to set up the Unity Hub, we got to have our VR hands already, and for the next part, I'll teach you about interactors. So all about how to interact with different objects, how to grab different objects, or how to grab them and pull them to yourself. So all of that will be tackled in the next video. Again, shout out to Valem Tutorials for the hand model and for the hand animations. It helped us a lot creating VR games. By the end of this video, we should be able to recreate the TDC game that we made here in the library. So that's our goal in this series, to create a full-blown game for your library. Alright, with that, see you soon guys and have a good day. Bye.